Here's something I see all the time. A business owner comes to us and says, we need an AI agent for our customer support. So we ask a few questions. What does it need to do? When a support ticket comes in, we want it categorized, tagged to the right team, and if it's a common question, we want a reply sent automatically. Now, that's actually not an agent, that's an automation. And the difference isn't just vocabulary, it's architecture, cost, reliability, and whether the thing you build actually works 6 months from now. Right now, these two terms, AI automation and AI agent, are being thrown around like they're the same thing. They're not. And if you pick the wrong one for your problem, you'll either overbuild something expensive that breaks, or underbuild something brittle that can't handle real-world complexity. So, in this video, I'm going to give you the clearest explanation I can of what each one actually is, how they work, and when to use which, and the single analogy that makes the whole thing click. Let's get into it. So here's the simplest way I've found to explain this. Think about two ways of getting across a city that you've never been to. Let's say option 1, you choose a sat-nav app. You type in the destination and it gives you the route. Turn left here, go straight for 400 meters, take the second exit. You've arrived at your destination. You follow those instructions exactly, step by step, and you arrive at your destination. If there is a roadblock, the app recalculates, but it's still giving you a new set of fixed instructions. That's an example of an AI automation, a predefined path, triggers, steps, conditions, outputs. It's structured, it's predictable, and for most tasks, it's exactly what you need. Option 2, you get into a taxi. You tell the driver where you want to go. You don't give them turn-by-turn directions, they figure it out. They know which roads are busy right now, they make judgment calls. They might take a completely different route than the sat-nav would suggest, because they have context the sat-nav doesn't. That's an AI agent. You give it a goal, not a route, and it figures out how to get there. Now, both got you to the same destination, but the way they got you there, the cost, the risk profile, and how much you had to trust the system is completely different. Let's break each one down properly. An AI automation is a workflow where AI handles one or more steps inside a predefined process. The key word there is predefined. You, the human, design the logic. You decide when this happens. Do this, do that. Is this condition true? Go left. If not, go right. The AI might be doing something genuinely clever inside one of those steps. Summarizing a document, classifying an email, extracting data from an invoice, but it's doing it within a structure that you've built. Here's a real example. Say you run a business that receives invoices by email. Right now, someone on your team manually opens each one, reads it, logs the supplier name, logs the amount, the due date into a spreadsheet or accounting tool, and flags anything over a certain amount for approval. An AI automation handles this like so. An email arrives, that's the trigger. The system extracts the attachment. AI reads the invoice and pulls out the key fields: supplier, amount, due date, line items. Those get logged automatically. If the amount is over, say, £5,000, it routes to a manager for approval. If it's under, it gets filed and queued for payment. Every step is defined. Every condition is set by you. The AI is powerful inside its lane, but it's not deciding what lane to be in. Now, let's put some numbers on that. Let's say your team processes 40 invoices a week and each one takes about 8 minutes manually. That's 320 minutes a week, just over 5 hours. Across a year, that's roughly 277 hours or 7 full working weeks just on invoices. It's nearly 2 months. An automation like this handles the bulk of that in seconds. You still review the exceptions, and you should, but you've just given someone back 7 weeks a year to do actual thinking work. That's the power of automations. They're predictable, they're reliable, they're auditable, and they scale beautifully for structured, repeatable processes. But, and this is the important part, they only work when the process can be predefined, when you can map the logic in advance, and when the inputs are consistent enough that a fixed path makes sense. The moment your process has too many variables, too many edge cases, too many it depends decisions, that's where automation starts to strain. Now, an AI agent is different. Instead of following a predefined workflow, an agent receives a goal and works out how to achieve it. It can reason through a problem. It can decide which tools to use, and it can adapt its approach based on what it finds along the way. And critically, it can handle situations it hasn't been explicitly programmed for. Now, I need to be careful here because this is where the hype can get a little dangerous. When I say an agent reasons and decides, I don't mean it's thinking like a human. I mean it's using a large language model to evaluate options, weigh context, and choose a next step from a set of available actions. It's pattern matching at a very sophisticated level, but it is not sentient, it is a tool. A powerful one, but it's still just a tool. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Let's go back to customer support, but this time the challenge is messier. A customer emails in and says, "Hi, I placed an order last week, but I've just moved house and I need the delivery address changed. Also, I was charged twice and I'd like a refund on the duplicate." That's two problems in one email. One is a logistics issue and one's a billing issue, and the customer hasn't neatly separated them for you. Now, an automation might struggle here. You'd need to predefine every possible combination of requests, build branching logic for each one, and hope the customer phrases things in a way your system can understand. Now, an agent approaches it differently. It reads the email, it identifies two separate requests, it decides to handle the address change first, checks the order status, calls the shipping tool to update the address. Then it tackles the billing issue separately. It looks up the payment history, identifies the duplicate charge, and initiates the refund. And it drafts a separate, coherent reply covering both. No one told it the order of operations. No one mapped that exact flow. It figured out the approach based on the goal. Resolve this customer's issues. Now, here's where I have to give you the guardrail, because this is where people get carried away. Agents are powerful, but they are less predictable. Because they're making decisions, they can make wrong decisions. They can hallucinate. They can take an action you did not anticipate. And in a business context, an unpredictable system handling customer money or sensitive data is a real risk. So in my experience, agents work best when they have clear boundaries. A defined set of tools they can access, guardrails on what they can and can't do autonomously, and a human in the loop for high-stakes decisions. That refund I just mentioned, in a well-designed system, anything over a certain amount would still route to a person for approval. The agent is the taxi driver, more capable, more flexible, but you still need to trust that driver. And that trust is earned through good design, not blind faith. All right, let's make this really concrete. Same business problem, built two ways. A B2B company gets inbound leads through their website. They need each lead scored, enriched with company data, and routed to the right salesperson. The automation approach. A form is submitted. That's the trigger. The system takes the email address and enriches it using a data tool. Pulls the company name, size, industry, job title, etc. Then it runs a scoring formula you've built. Company size above 50 gets 10 points, decision maker title gets 20 points, target industry gets 15 points. The score determines routing. High score goes to senior reps, medium to the general queue, low gets a nurture email sequence. Every step is mapped. Every rule is yours. You know exactly what's going to happen and why. Now, the agentic approach, let's say the same lead comes in, but instead of a fixed scoring formula, the agent reviews the lead's information, checks it against your historical data on which leads actually converted, looks at the salesperson's current workload and expertise, and makes a judgment call on routing. It might notice that this lead's company just raised funding, something a fixed formula wouldn't account for, and bump the priority. More nuanced, more adaptive, but also harder to audit, harder to explain, and more expensive to run. Now, I want to be honest about something. For most businesses at this stage, the automation approach is the right one for lead qualification. It's faster to build, cheaper to run, and the rules are transparent. You can explain to your sales team exactly why a lead was scored the way it was. The agentic approach starts to make sense when your process is too complex for fixed rules, when the edge cases outnumber the standard cases, when context matters more than criteria, or when the volume of decisions would overwhelm a human team. In my experience, the best systems often combine both. Automation handles the predictable 80%. Let's say an agent handles the ambiguous 20% and a human handles the critical decisions that neither should make alone. So how do you decide which to use? Here's a simple framework I come back to again and again. Ask yourself 3 questions about the process you're trying to improve. Question 1. Can I map the logic in advance? If you can draw the flowchart, if you can say when this, then that for every scenario, then you want an automation. It's simpler, it's cheaper, it's more reliable, and it's easier to maintain. If the answer is, it depends on context, or there are too many variables to predefine, that's where agents start earning their place. Question 2, how high are the stakes if it gets it wrong? Automations are predictable. If there is a bug, you can trace it and fix it. Agents are probabilistic. They won't always do the same thing twice, given the same input. If you're processing payroll or handling compliance, predictability isn't optional. If you're drafting initial responses to low-stakes inquiries, a bit of variability is fine. Question 3. Is the value in speed or in judgment? If the main win is doing a repeatable task faster and without errors, automation. If the main win is making better decisions across ambiguous situations, then you want an agent. And here's the honest truth that doesn't make for a very exciting headline. Most businesses right now will get more value from well-designed automations than from agents. Not because agents aren't powerful, they really are, but because most businesses haven't yet automated the structured, repeatable work that's eating their teams alive. And that's where the immediate, measurable return is. Here's what I think is actually interesting about all of this. The line between automations and agents is going to blur. It's already blurring. The models are getting better, the tooling is maturing. What requires an agent today might be a simple automation in 2 years. But the thinking behind the distinction, structured process versus adaptive reasoning, predictability versus flexibility, speed versus judgment, that doesn't change. Those are design principles, and they'll matter regardless of what the technology looks like this time next year. So whether you're just starting to explore what AI can do for your operations, or you've already built a few automations and you're wondering what's next, the question isn't, should I use AI? The question is, what kind of problem am I solving, and what kind of system does it actually need? Get that right, and everything else follows. If you're trying to figure out where AI fits into your operations, that's literally what we do here at AIAIO. We help businesses design the right system for the right problem. There's a link in the description if you want to explore that. But either way, I hope this gave you a clearer picture of the difference. If it did, a like or a subscribe genuinely helps this channel reach more operators who need this kind of clarity. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.